It's really funny because my doctor in England used to say, don't eat anything with fiber in. Okay. And then I moved to America and I go to a gastroenterologist here. And the first thing he says was, you're not eating enough fiber. And the more fiber I ate, the sicker I got. I was driving to work and everything in front of me went double. And I was coming off a bench word and literally all the cars and lines were double. And I panicked. And so I closed one eye and it was still double. And I closed my other eye and it was single. The eye doctor had never seen that ever.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Carnivore Today. Today, I have a special guest, Susan Ellenbach. Susan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself for those that don't know anything about you?
Sure. I'm in my 60s. I'm a single mom of two boys, but although three if you count my stepson. I am in sales. I was a recruiter for 23 years, but now I'm a regional sales manager for a moving and storage company. I live in Union, Englewood, Ohio, and I go to church. I sing in the choir. I love cooking. I love reading. And I used to do a lot of sailing, but since I moved to Ohio, that's not happened very much. But I love to help people. So I'm in my own site on my social commission at church. I'm in Rotary. I'm in Chamber of Commerce, but I like to volunteer and help people. So
Awesome. I
that's me.
love that. So you said you're a single mom. How old are your kids?
Uh, I'm actually, my eldest is 30 and my youngest is 27.
Okay.
And my stepson in England is 38. But I help potty train him, change the beds, taught him how to swim, ride his bike. So he's mine. I think I went through the pain of that one.
That's awesome. I love that.
So yeah.
So what we're here to talk about today is the carnivore diet,
Mhm.
and you've been on the carnivore diet for a little while. Can you kind of tell us what led you to actually wanting to start a carnivore diet?
I have tried. I used to be really skinny, really, really skinny. I was a ballet dancer. I broke both my knees in a car accident. And then I also have an autoimmune ulcerative colitis. And so over the years, I've tried all sorts of diets. It's really funny because my doctor in England used to say, don't eat anything with fiber in. Okay. And then I moved to America and I go to a gastroenterologist here. And the first thing he says was, you're not eating enough fiber. And the more fiber I ate, the sicker I got.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was gaining all this weight. They were putting me on steroids. I literally gained, I woke up one morning, my face was completely swollen. My eyes were swollen shut. My face was cracked and weeping. And they took 4 courses of steroids to get me looking normal, but I just gained 40 pounds.
Oh,
And
yes.
when I moved back to the States, because I'm half American, when I moved back to the States in 94, I was 15 pounds off my wedding weight. And my son was 13 months old and I'd been on fertility treatment. So that had made me gain weight. So the fact that I only had 15 pounds to go, I was really happy. But then I suddenly gained another 40 pounds and I've never really been able to lose it since then. I've tried every single diet going. I have tried, and I've always cooked from scratch. I'm never one of those people that buy lots of processed food.
Mhm.
I mean, even when I made complicated cakes and things, I made it completely from scratch. But I've done Weight Watchers, and the first time I did Weight Watchers, I lost quite a bit of weight, but it didn't last very long. I've tried Jenny Craig. I've tried the JD Virgin, the Whole30. Curbs had a diet, I followed
Wow.
what my doctor gave me. And then my my gastro doctor, my family doctor said, well, try intermittent fasting. And so that was working. I got COVID. Yeah,
Oh,
because I
no.
lost quite a bit of weight and then I got COVID. And the first thing, and I was hospitalized, they put me on intravenous steroids. And what happened? I gained every pound plus more I'd ever lost back.
Mm.
So when I got back to work, because I was off work for 9 weeks, I went doing intermittent fasting and I started cutting out what my grandmother used to say, just cut out the bread and potatoes, you'll lose weight. That's what my grandmother always used to say, right? And So I cut the bread and potatoes and the pasta and the rice and things out, and I started feeling a lot better. And then I came across, and I'd watched Dr. Berg a few times, and I'd
Mm.
been taking different supplements. And then I came across Carnivore Bee and Dr. Berry. And it was the day of the air show parade. I had dropped my son off and I was really frustrated. I was feeling really fat. I just stopped at Aldi on the way home and got some steaks. But that is it. The day of the air show parade, I went carnivore right into the deep end.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I'd lost, um, since I got back from COVID, I've lost 57 pounds, but I've lost 41 since I've been doing carnivore.
Amazing. That's awesome. So was it the ulcerative colitis that actually was the determining factor for
Oh,
choosing
no, it's everything.
carnivore or
I
the
had
weight
a
loss?
really bad had GERD, so really acid reflux. I had really bad acid reflux. Um, my cholesterol. After I had COVID, I had what we thought was heart scare. So they did a heart cath and found two minor blockages. The cardiologist put me on 80 milligrams of atorvastatin, and I literally was losing my memory. I am known for somebody that can remember minute details from years ago. I mean, when I was a recruiter, a candidate would literally call me up 5 years, 10 years after I spoke to them. And I could say, oh, how are the twins doing? Are they still studying French and learning the flame? And it was weird, and telephone numbers. At one point, I could dial a telephone number. I suppose that was when we dialed and didn't have anything programmed in, or look at a license plate and remember it straight away. But you get the code sent to you to confirm things now. I was literally having to go back 2 or 3 times to look at the 6-digit code because I couldn't remember it in my head to put it in. I was struggling for words. And
Mhm.
so after, watching Dr. Barry, I went, yeah, I'm not doing this 80 milligrams anymore. And so I had my blood tested. I went to see my family doctor and my numbers were really good. And I told him what I was doing, and he's really into keto. He said, "Oh, you can eat vegetables and leafy greens and even potatoes now and again." And I went, "Oh, okay." And I didn't.
Right.
And then I had to go back, and I honestly I lost like 17 or 18 pounds within the first month. It was really weird. And then it slowed
Right.
down. And I've been really slow. I was almost stalled for the last 3 months.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to kick it up a notch. And I haven't gone totally all beef, but I think I'm gonna do the lion diet. I don't know if it's the eggs. I have a lot of allergies. I'm allergic to a lot of different food groups. I suddenly became allergic to shrimp. I had hives 2 weeks ago. So I don't know, maybe my brother used to be allergic to egg whites, so maybe I should cut back on the eggs.
Mhm.
But that's what I've been doing. And I mean, I've gone down a lot of clothes sizes. I still have a way to go because I gained so much weight.
Mhm.
Because I'm literally, I got to at least 130 pounds heavier than my wedding weight. Now
Okay.
I've got 60 pounds to get to my wedding weight and 40 pounds to get to what I was when I first moved over from America from England, sorry.
No, you're
But,
doing great.
but my ulcerative colitis is remission. My blood pressure has gone down. My A1C's gone down. My cholesterol numbers. My family doctor, I think they're fantastic. The cardiologist is really worried about my LDLs because they're 119. 19 is nothing.
Right.
And plus, I read Stan Pre-Life, a British cardiologist, and he said, really, 139 is a good number for an older woman.
For sure.
So I'm looking for a new cardiologist because I don't like the one I've got. Not now, because he just wants to push high dose statins. What else? Oh, my eyesight. The thing that made me post that video was
Mhm.
that I was driving to work and everything in front of me went double. And I was coming off of Benchwood, and literally all the cars and lines were double, and I panicked. And so I closed one eye and it was still double, and I closed my that eye and it was single. So I managed, I worked 2 minutes from Benchwood. So I got to the office and called my eye doctor and they said, oh, we have an opening today. So I went down. My right eye has improved 20 points and my astigmatism has reduced 50%.
Wow. That's
And
incredible.
my left eye's improved 5 points. My left eye's always been really good. I have amblyopia, lazy eye, but
Hmm.
thankfully the Air Force caught it early so it doesn't wander. But the eye doctor had never seen that ever. And I said, well, my A1C's dropped. And he said, well, what was it? I said, oh, well, it was 6.1 and now it's 5.6. And he went, you're in the fives. I don't have any of my patients in the fives. I had somebody here the other day who went from um, 13 to 9. And so
Wow.
I have two pair of glasses. And he said, let's only change the lenses in one of them because if you keep doing what you're doing, I have a feeling that you're going to be changing your lenses again. So you probably don't want to spend both of, and I actually don't wear my glasses now for watching the television and for long distance driving because I see better without them.
Wow. That's awesome. I love that.
So, and oh, the other thing too is I did try to introduce vegetables, because I do absolutely love vegetables and I love fruit, but I found that when I eat broccoli, carrots, Brussels sprouts, green beans, even cabbage, I get arthritis in my foot because I suffer arthritis in my right foot from the ballet toe work. I have a
Mm.
problem with my toes and the tendons in there. But when I don't eat vegetables, then I'm not in excruciating pain.
Wow. That's
So,
I wonder if it's just the inflammation or the oxalates that's in the vegetables that's causing that.
um, I don't know. I think it's probably. I mean, one, and there's oxalates, but also, but a friend of mine is a medical massage therapist. She said, "Did you eat any nightshades, by the way?" And I went, "Well, I had some potatoes, and I had like a tablespoon of mashed, 2 tablespoons of mashed potatoes. I had some mashed sweet and carrots." And she said, "What's sweet?" I went, "It's rutabaga." She said, "Well, that's a nightshade." And carrots are nightshades. And she's right, because we had some baby carrots at home because my elder son, I'm trying to get him from eating pizzas and all of that stuff.
Hmm.
So we've got him down to like 30 to 50 carbs a day. But I had some baby carrots in the house, and the other day I just succumbed and I ate some, and sure enough, the next day my foot hurt really bad.
Oh,
Sometimes it's not
wow.
even overnight. Sometimes it's within an hour it'll start hurting. So I love vegetables, but they didn't love me.
Right? Well, that's like Dr. Chafee says, plants are trying to kill you, right?
Well, and I did get, and I think it was oxalate dumping. I did get where I felt like I was shards of needles were coming out my eyes.
Oh, wow.
And, when you read up on oxalates, they're like, they say they're little crystals that form
Mhm.
and like needles. And I have a friend who has rheumatoid arthritis and she was eating tons of spinach and they are really high in oxalates. And so I sent her the list, but she said, "Oh, I can't do what you're doing. I want to enjoy life, blah, blah, blah." And I went, "You'll enjoy life a lot more if you stop eating the things that are making you hurt.
Mhm. Yep.
You'll be
Not
able to get
not that you can't do it, it's that you don't want to do it.
exactly." I mean, she's got two grandchildren and she complains that she doesn't get to play with them because rheumatoid arthritis is so bad. She has to get up 3 hours early every morning to get ready for work because
Wow.
her joints are so swollen and stiff.
Man, you would think that would be the final straw.
Oh, believe me, when I had an allergic reaction to strawberries years ago, I have never eaten a raw strawberry since. You don't have to tell me twice.
Right?
I have now had an allergic reaction to shrimp. No way am I eating any sea. I won't eat any shellfish now, ever. And I love shellfish. I love shrimp and scallops and crab, and I love all of that. But, last Mother's Day, my sons took me to El Maison for Mother's Day, and I got
Okay.
paella, and my nose was itching. a
Oh,
lot,
wow.
right? And I said something to somebody on one of my groups, and they said, "Oh, you're probably allergic to shellfish." I went, "Well, I've eaten it my whole life." But apparently, your allergies can change every 7 years.
Mhm.
And mine has now decided. And I also, Dr. Berry was saying this to somebody on the chat last night in the PhD group, that because she was saying, how come she has such a strong reaction to food when she's trying to reintroduce it?
Mhm.
And he said it's like an alcoholic. You know, once they give up alcohol, if they've given up alcohol for, a year, 16 months, whatever, and they one shot of whiskey will make them tipsy again. It really will affect. And so that's the same with, the plants that Dr. Chafee says are trying to kill us, you know?
Right.
So with me, I know now that, and I did try Christmas Day. I cooked the boys their vegetables that they liked. And I tried parsnips because I love roast parsnips. And I was doing roast beef and I didn't have any problems with them. So if I want to eat some carbs, I can eat roast parsnips. And I usually cook them in duck fat, so it's not all bad.
Right. Nice.
So yeah,
Uh,
so
let's, rewind just a little bit, and let's talk about the ulcerative colitis.
mhm.
So, what kind of issues were you having with that?
Oh,
Like,
right.
how
Well,
bad?
I'm weird. I usually have the opposite symptoms to most people. So I was constipated. I didn't have diarrhea unless it got really bad. And then what happens is the villi in the colon gets infected and you get loads of mucus and blood. I was bleeding a lot of pain, and then I would have exploding. And I mean, I was self-employed when I had my last really big bout of really bad, when I suffered really bad. Thankfully, the toilet was literally maybe 10 feet from my desk because I
Wow.
was in and out of there, every couple of minutes. It was ridiculous. And really sharp abdomen pains. My stomach I was working uh, downtown Dayton, and all of a sudden I had this sharp, like somebody stabbing me in the stomach.
Yeah.
And I screamed and my boss came running because it was so painful. I was doubled up in agony, and it was my ulcerative colitis, of course. When I first came to the States, I was fine. I was again in remission. I had controlled it by diet. And then the gastro doctor here said, "No, you're not eating the right thing. You need to eat more fruit and vegetables and whole grains and loads of fiber, blah, blah, blah." Which made it worse. I ended up on a medication that was $1,000 a month that I couldn't afford.
Mm.
So the nurse, one of his nurses said, "Here, contact the pharmaceutical company and they'll send it to you for free," which I did. But literally, I couldn't live without that medication for about 3 or 4 years.
Goodness.
And then I suddenly I remembered, what my doctor in England said. He said when I had a flare up there when I was first diagnosed, just eat bland food, eat anything with fiber in it. So I did that, and then and I never used to eat breakfast as a child, and then I got into eating it over here, so I stopped eating breakfast again. And just over the years, I've managed to control it, but it never went away because I'd still have episodes of it. But I also suffered really badly with gas. People used to tease me about it. It was so bad.
Mm.
And not anymore. I hardly ever have any gas problems. Unless I eat something by mistake that's got seed oil in it. And
I love
last time I had a colonoscopy, my doctor said that there was no signs of ulcerative colitis at all.
That's awesome. So, well, your A1C, what'd you say it was? It's
It was
6?
6.1, and no
Okay.
matter what I did, and I was diagnosed with hypoglycemia when I was a child,
Mhm.
and and my brother has it. It's hereditary. It's a genetic problem, but it's if I eat highly processed food, my body goes into insulin overdrive and I crash.
Hmm.
So, and people kept saying you have to eat lots of little meals. Well, I I don't eat breakfast because I don't like eating breakfast. I never have.
Hmm.
And so you'd think that I would crash on the carnivore diet because I usually only eat one meal a day, unless, like today, I went to Chamber of Commerce women's group meeting and they actually had meat. They had city barbecue. So I ate because I know I'm going to choir tonight and I
Hmm.
probably wouldn't have been eating till 8:30, 9 o'clock otherwise. But usually I just eat Monday to Friday, I usually just eat in the evenings. And then at the weekends, I'll have 2 meals a day, sometimes three, but my son told me off. He says I'm eating too many pork rinds. So I've stopped buying so many pork rinds. I do have cans of sardine in my desk and kippers, and I have those at home as well. And then I found some zero carb, zero sugar, smoked pork and beef sticks at Aldi.
Okay.
I have to stop buying them because I was like eating way too many of them already.
Right.
But I did lose another half a pound since last week. So, which
Awesome.
was only half a pound, but I'm taking it as a victory because I've been stuck at
Hmm.
201.8 for 2.5 months. And now I'm 200 exactly. So
Awesome. So how long have you been actually eating a carnivore diet at this point?
July, what, dude, the air show parade last year.
Okay.
That was in July last year. This year is going to be in June.
What is that? 9 months? 10 months?
Mhm.
Okay.
July, August, September, July to August, August, September, September to October, October to November, December, January, February, 8 months.
Okay. So when you first started, did you have any sort of complications?
None at all. People said about the keto flu, I didn't get it.
Mhm.
People said about diarrhea, didn't get it. And
That's
that
good.
was one of the things that the only problem that I was still suffering from ulcerative colitis was constipation really bad. So I was taking loads of stool softeners all the time. I haven't had
Mm.
to take one at all since I've been on carnivore.
That's
I'm
awesome.
more regular on carnivore, which they keep telling you, there's that old story that the meat how it gets in your colon for years, which is a load of rubbish.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's hey, when I first heard that, it's pretty comical that anybody would even theorize something like that. It has to be some sort of a, I don't know, old wives' tale or something because there's just no truth to that whatsoever.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh yeah, believe me, I was armed with when I went to see my cardiologist. He was going, "What about LDL?" And I went, "But isn't plaque caused by carbs and sugar? Processed food?
Right. Yeah.
And my plaques got worse while I was on those high dose statins as well. One of the side effects of statins is arterial plaque. I always get the side effects that are going to be rare. I haven't been to my gastroenterologist now except for my colonoscopy, and that was completely clear.
Really?
Mhm. Yeah, he said there was no signs of ulcerative colitis.
That's amazing.
I know.
All you had to do was eat meat, and less than a year, it's gone.
And actually, the guy and the guy fitting me with my glasses said, "If you keep this up, you won't be needing glasses."
That's incredible.
I
Yeah,
know.
my eyesight's gotten a little bit better, and I go to the eye doctor actually next week to see if, there's any technical improvements.
I've worn glasses since I was 5, since I have a lazy eye. But my eye doesn't wander just when I'm tired. It unfocuses a little bit. So my left eye's always done the major work. I can see, like, if I close my good eye, um, it's like something's not. It's not as bright. Everything's duller. Okay. And then when they're working together, it's fine. But there were years when I wasn't wearing glasses because the opticians in England said you can't fix amblyopia and your eyesight's not bad enough to wear glasses. But as I've got older, of course, but now and I used to be really farsighted, and then I suddenly went nearsighted in my bad eye, but
Mm.
now that's getting better. So that's why I don't have to wear glasses for distance now.
Yeah, that would be awesome if I could do that myself. Glasses for distance to go away would be, incredible. It does feel
And
like it's a little bit better, but the crazy thing is I know my eyesight is changing for a fact because with the glasses that I have on now, prior to carnivore diet, I could I could read stuff, up close to my face, no problem whatsoever, right?
Mhm.
And now I have to back it up
It's
to
because your
be able
lens
to
is on
see it.
correct. Yeah. Mhm.
But here's the thing, if I take my glasses off, I can still read up that close,
Mhm.
right? So there's a change that's happening in my eyes for sure.
Well, and the
And
same with my computer monitor now, and I had problems. I thought they hadn't got the progression right on these glasses.
Mhm.
And and I was like, literally, I was walking around the office. I had it taped to my forehead so that I could read and see my monitor. And then I went back, and it's just because my glasses needed adjusting, and because I had them with different lenses, and over time they got warped. And they don't have those adjustable nose pieces in. So next pair of glasses I get will have those. Um, but I could literally read. I could just a lot of time I can take my glasses off and just read my monitor now, which I have not been able to do for a long time.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So
So
what led you into the YouTube rabbit hole? You have a YouTube channel now, so
I
why did
just started it. Well, because I've been chatting on. I'm on Nicole's channel, former fat girl.
Uh-huh.
And then I'd been watching Mando, Carnivorous Me, and then meeting Wellness, and also Carrie at My Metamorphosis. And then Mike Shaw, TV, he was going on about having an interview. And I kept saying, Colby, I was a recruiter for 23 years. I'll give you an interview prep, right? And finally said, hey, Mike, Susan's trying to contact you. And ever since then, Mike's been egging me on, telling me I needed to do something. And I haven't done anything since that video, but I need to do something again. And I need to do some more follow ups too, because there's some other things that I'm doing. And I used to do years ago, and I'm starting to do again. But when I came out of the opticians because of my eyes, it was such a dramatic thing that happened to me. I couldn't believe that my eyesight would get better, and I'd never heard of an astigmatism getting better either.
Mhm.
And so I came out and I did a video and Mike's been egging me on and to do some more as well. But right now I'm just super busy because I'm learning. I'm taking some certificates to sell life insurance and mortgages and all of that stuff too, to learn on the side, to do things on the side. But one of the things that I also did was I had made some eyebrow serum, an eyelash serum years ago.
Mhm.
Lost the recipe, but it was working beautifully. My niece took what I had off me, and we were talking about. Ellie was talking about how she was using castor oil, and I went, "I've got a new recipe for eyebrow and eyelash serum that's got castor oil in it." Um, and so I've made some, which I'm going to send to her and to Christy. But I had also used to make my own face creams using coconut oil and vitamin E and things like that. So I decided I'm now going to make some with tallow, because I bought some tallow soap and I really like it. And I found some recipes online and uh, for whipped face cream.
Mhm.
And so I'm gonna try and make some face cream and some shampoo and things like that. Just because I liked
Nice.
it, because I'm not gonna be baking anymore, so I might as well use my stand mixer for something.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's interesting is last night on the keto cookout, Ellie was on and she was talking about the castor oil. And literally this morning, I decided I'm going to buy some because I still have some issues here and there with acne,
But look,
and it's mostly gone. But
did
there's still
did
like
you buy it in a glass bottle?
I did
Okay,
brown glass
yeah,
bottle, hexane free, cold pressed, and
yep,
organic.
exactly. Yep. I've watched several channels on castor oil, and they've had people that it's got rid of floaters as well. And I have one floater in this right eye, which drives me nuts. So every night I'm rubbing castor oil into my eyelids now. I use my serum for my eyebrows and my eyelashes because that's got biotin and emu oil and vitamin E and some other
Hmm.
things in there. The recipe I went and I usually scour other people's recipes. And I used to do this with baking as well, and then I make my own. And
Nice.
my hairdresser couldn't believe how thick my eyebrows had got last time I used it. So, you know, trying it again
Yeah,
because
I'm gonna
my
try it out.
eyelashes really short. But also, I
Like
didn't want to keep buying face cream because the face cream I like to buy from Aveeno, they stopped making that particular one.
mhm,
Um, I found some online from Amazon. I thought, you know what? Why don't I try and make my own face cream? Then I have to buy it from anyone, not worry. I won't have to worry about it not being made anymore.
mhm,
So I'm going
and
to
you
make
know
a
exactly
face.
what's in it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same with cooking and and shopping any food whatsoever. I've always been, if you can't understand the ingredients, you don't want to be eating it. And I've always been like that. I don't know why. I mean, uh, um, my grandfather and grandparents in England, my grandfather grew every fruit and vegetable you could think of. And if he couldn't grow it outside, he grew it in one of his two large greenhouses. So the only things in his house that weren't made by him, I mean, he bought his meat and things, were the
Mhm.
box of chocolates he bought my grandmother every week and his whiskey. Because everything, practically everything else in the house was grown in the garden. They used to have chickens, but he stopped doing this. But he'd buy the chicken, and things from the local butcher, and the eggs and things.
Mhm.
We had fishmongers, and the thing is, in England too, you can hold up an American packet of cornflakes and an English packet of cornflakes, and the English packet will have three things on the ingredients, and the American one will be like an inch and a half long.
That's crazy. I
For
wonder why that
something
is.
as simple as cornflakes. And they're not allowed to have GMOs in England or, modified, anything modified. And they're not allowed to give steroids to the animals. And that was one of the things I said when I came here. I said to my doctor, do you think I'd be gaining weight because I'm eating American beef and it's got steroids in it? Oh, no, no, no. But you know what? Why not? We, we're supposed to get the nutrients from what they eat. Why can't we get the poisons from what they eat as well?
Right?
So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, my poor kitchen, I haven't cleared everything out. I know you're supposed to do that, but I literally have got to go in and throw away things that I am not going to use anymore. But I still keep some stuff in the fridge because of my son, because he's not a carnivore. Um, but what I do now is if he gets something that I don't want to make sure I don't want to eat, I go, hide that for me.
Right.
So that I don't cheat.
Yeah, I don't do well with stuff in the house either. I'd rather it not be there, but I'm the only one that's actually eating a carnivore diet, so I have to put up with it,
Mhm.
unfortunately. But
Yeah, I mean, like, if there's peanuts or he was bringing almonds and macadamia nuts to work to snack on rather than have chips, and I was just going in there and eating loads of them out. This is still good for me. I have to stop doing it. So he
mhm,
had them.
right? Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah, my couple cheats that I've had is peanut butter crackers. There's always peanut butter crackers in there or combos or something like that.
My peanut butter didn't used to be a problem because after I had COVID, the taste of peanut butter was terrible. It was like rotten peanuts. That seems to have gone away now. So if I'm craving something sweet, sometimes I'll say, well, I've had a couple of tablespoons of peanut butter. That's not really
Right.
sweet. It's protein, but I told Matthew to hide it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my Achilles heels for
And it's
sure.
funny because I don't go for the jam. We've got jam and jelly in the house, but I didn't go for that.
Yep,
It,
I'm the same way.
and
Yep.
cheese. I love cheese, but my sinuses don't like cheese.
Interesting.
So Nicole challenged me to do a dairy-free month. And I said, you're nuts. There's no way this British person is not going to have milk in her tea. Guess who doesn't have milk in her tea anymore? When I tried to add it back in, all I could taste was milk. I couldn't taste the tea.
Hmm,
So
interesting.
now I drink black tea all the time. I mean, there was a couple of black teas I drank black, like my Earl Grey, my Lady Grey, my
Mhm.
Darjeeling. I always drank those black anyway.
Mhm.
But my Yorkshire tea, breakfast tea, um, uh, I drink black now and I can't stand it with milk in.
So what does a typical day of eating look like for you?
Nothing in the morning. I usually get up and I have a cup of black tea and take my supplements. And I'm taking some supplements because I take vitamin D because I've also tried to say when you have an autoimmune, you don't absorb your minerals as well as other people.
Mhm.
So my vitamin D had gone down to 6 before I went on the court at one time a few years ago. It's never not been that low for a long time. But I always take vitamin D. And then I found out I should have really been taking vitamin K with my vitamin D because of the plaque. So I did that. But I've been having sleeping problems ever since I had COVID and I was on sleeping pills. I'm trying to wean myself off them now. And I think it's working because I'm actually starting to fall asleep in my armchair every night, which is ridiculous before I even take a pill.
Wow.
Um, but um, so I started taking different magnesiums. I was taking magnesium L-threolate because of my memory loss. But I'm going to tell you right now, within 2 weeks of coming off of those atorvastatin, my memory came back completely.
Wow.
You could
That's
tell
interesting.
that that's what caused the problem. And because I went and scared myself. I did a CAC score. I knew I had two little heart um, blockages, but they were really tiny from the heart cath that I'd had. That I went to do a CAC score and it was over 800. So that scared me completely.
Mhm.
And so watching some of the other channels, they talk about autophagy. And Dr. Barry said, Susan, keep doing this diet, redo it in a year's time and you'll reduce it. And I've spoken now to two women who have reduced theirs were only in the 200s. They're
Mhm.
both at zero now.
Incredible.
Okay. And then Aid on the feed said the other day that it took him about took him or it's about 18 months. She started keto and then went to carnivore. And she was over 200.
Interesting. So you haven't done your second test yet?
No, because it was September of last year, so that would be too soon. But I had also read a study on a enzyme called nattokinase that nattokinase with K2 and with baby aspirin. Um, they had 1,069 people in the study, and in 1 year, the people that were only taking like 2,000 FU of nattokinase, there was hardly any difference. But the people that were taking 10,000 FU of the nattokinase, they had like a 96% improvement in their carotid arteries.
Interesting.
And it was because it was caused, it was, it dissolves fibrous tissue, nattokinase. And so it dissolves um, the plaque buildup. And that works in conjunction with the K2 because K2 softens that stuff up and makes it more flexible. So you don't get the stiffness.
Mhm.
So I know, I mean, and I double checked because it is a derivative of, you're not actually having the soy. It's the enzyme. So it doesn't affect you. So I take that. What else do I take? Oh, B12. Just because I was so tired all the time, I probably could stop taking B12 now because I'm getting pretty hyper again.
You have
So,
a problem with being hyper?
um, according to some of my old colleagues, I remember when I was losing weight before when I was um, a bit younger, my colleague said to me, "Oh my God, you're so hyper." And I went, "Oh, you should see me when I'm skinny." And he said, "For God's sakes, don't lose any more weight."
Nice. That's funny.
But I've always been high energy, especially if I'm passionate about something. But then
Mhm.
usually what happens is I go home and then usually I never used to talk to anybody when I went home. I would just go home and it would be quiet, just me, because my sons would be doing something else. But since I've been on the different channels, I'll type in. And that's when Mike was nagging at me, you need to come on, we need to see you. So I haven't done, you'll be the first because I haven't done it with anyone else yet. I'm supposed to be
Awesome.
doing something with Nicole. We're supposed to be um, commenting on. It's not the actual, know your food. That what's that propaganda food thing they put out about being a vegan? I forgot what
Well,
it's
I'm not
called now.
sure. I'm
But
sure I've seen it. It just doesn't come to mind right now.
yeah, well, I think Dr. Barry said he and Nisha watched a little bit in the first part and a little bit in the last part because it was just all propaganda BS.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. I don't think I could. I mean, I did start watching it, but, and he is right.
and the people putting out those sort of documentaries, they have an agenda behind it,
Hmm.
and they twist everything anybody says. It really is annoying, and Matthew will get mad at me because I yell at the TV sometimes. You know, that's not right. You just twisted
Right.
that. Um, but it it's like I was watching. There's this one British guy that he's apparently some sort of nutritionist, and Nicole has critiqued some of his stuff, and he is just the biggest arrogant SOB. And I just want to smack him one. It's like you're making me ashamed to be half English. Would you stop that rubbish? And we
Right.
all know you're selling, your tests and everything. So that's why you're being so controversial. Right?
Hmm.
And he did a day in the life of, and sure enough, he was a vegan. Now, I am, if you want to be a vegan, fine, but don't tell me off for eating meat.
For sure.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and
Totally.
there also, I still use some herbs and spices, but I think I need to cut out some of them because I think chili pepper and paprika might be giving me a problem.
Hmm.
So, but as I say, my son, he's mainly eating the same meat as me with some vegetables. And occasionally, if he hasn't had any of the carbs, like last night, I did chicken thighs wrapped with bacon.
Hmm.
And I did him like 17 French fries that he baked in the oven because it was going to be less than 20 carbs.
Okay.
So he still feels he's getting his treat now and again.
Right.
But I only do that maybe once or twice a week. The rest of the time, it's meat and vegetables, you know. And he started to
No.
cook things for himself now. So I make my own taco seasoning. So he'll make a pound of ground beef with taco seasoning, and he'll have cream cheese and sour cream and cheese on it. He was having tortilla chips, one serving of tortilla chips, but he's even cutting back on those now.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. My taco seasoning is beef liver, powdered beef liver. So it's not, I don't eat tacos. So I just eat ground beef, chop up some extra fat, throw it in there, fat chunks and, some liver, powder and eat away. Some Maldon
Now,
salt.
I've got some liver in my freezer. I haven't cooked it yet. I used to eat liver all the time. I mean, liver and onions and gravy, that was a staple in my house when I was growing up because my dad was US Air Force and they didn't pay those people very well. So my mum had to be, what could she feed us on that was cheap? A lot of chicken pot pies and hot dogs.
Nice.
But so I sometimes buy meat from a friend of mine. She's got a organic pasture raised farm in Phillipsburg.
Hmm.
And so I'll go there and get beef. I'll get all the boys didn't really like her chicken and her pork because they said the chicken was too chickeny and the pork was too porky because it was so stronger grass fed flavor.
Right.
I didn't mind that the meat was a stronger because they are real red meat guys.
Hmm.
But I like to buy from her when I can. I don't
Nice.
wait to buy my grass fed stuff from wherever I can get it. I go to Sam's, I go to Aldi. I went to Bronx last Saturday
Okay.
and I got a rum priced
Nice.
and they had some English bangers. Around
Really?
what's in your English bangers? Because I want to make sure you didn't put any bread or anything in there. And so I got back home and that's what I cooked for Matthew and I. the English bangers.
Nice.
And they
I need
didn't
to
have
stop
any
back in
salt.
there.
They sold out. Hmm?
I need to stop back in there. I'm just about out of the fat that I bought from them, the ribeye fat, so
Well,
maybe
and they had no fat. They'd run out.
really?
Yeah, and she said they do their major butchering on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So of course I went there on Saturday and it was all gone. So
Hmm,
since I didn't get today, I'll go on Friday at lunchtime
right.
and buy a load.
Nice. Well,
So
now that you tipped me off, maybe I'll go first. I'm kidding.
thanks so much. So if I go in there, then there I'll know why.
Right. So there's another place close. It's called Evans Family Ranch. Have you ever been there in New
No, where's
Carlisle?
that?
To New Carlisle? It's a huge, huge ranch.
Oh wow.
I don't even know how many head of cattle they have. It must be at least 1,000.
So we used to have a butcher's around the corner from my house. I mean, around the corner, I was like, it's half a mile, but it is 2 minutes to car. Um, Landis Bowman.
Oh
And
yeah.
and they had a butcher shop there, and I used to go there and get my meat, and theirs was grass fed, grain finished, I think. But they couldn't get the people to work because after COVID. I mean, literally, people would be queuing out the door when I used to go there, and they were always so busy, but they
Mm,
couldn't get anybody to work, and so they've turned it into a production facility, and they supply other people now. But there
mm,
used to be, cuts of meat that I would get there that I can't get anywhere else now, which is really annoying. And they would cut things the way I liked them. And so that's really annoying as well. Um, and it's a shame to lose that local store. Now we
mm.
have um it's a German Baptist store here called the Covered Wagon, and they stock some of Landis's meat, and they stock meat that is from Winners up in Osborne, Ohio. It's a big meat processing plant up there. They get all the meat from all the farms in All Glaze and Mercer County
Mhm.
and Dark County. And I can get, so it's really funny because you'd think they'd be more expensive, and they are on some things more expensive, being a little store like that. But I just bought a load of ground beef from them in 1 pound packets, and it was like $3.99 a pound.
That's good.
And they had the pork sausage, breakfast sausage that only had salt and pepper in it, on sale for ages for like $2.99 a pound. And it's way better than the other stuff you can buy. Oh, they've had some beef bacon on sale for $3.99 last week.
That's incredible.
So
So do you prefer the flavor of the grass-fed over the grain-fed or vice versa?
I like the grass fed because it reminds me of English beef. English grass pasture fed beef and lamb and everything tastes like how I'm used to from England. American pork is completely tasteless. They have bred the taste right out of it because they've made it lean.
Right.
Never white meat. And one of the things I used to love about roast pork in England when we did a Sunday lunch was the fat on the top. We would score it and rub salt in it, and it would crackle up into crackling in the oven, and you'd then, when the pork was done, you'd slice it off and turn it over under the grill, and then broil the other underside, so that got crackly as well. And so I really
Sounds
kind of
delicious.
miss that. But if you find a pasture raised farm, the trouble is their butchering methods and cuts are slightly different, and so even the cut doesn't leave as much fat on there
Mhm.
over here. They tend to cut it all off,
Right.
which is annoying.
Mhm.
That's why I like Blandis, because I can say, hey, if you cut me a loin of pork, could you leave the fat on it? You know,
Right.
I don't want you to trim. I wear a loin roast, but I want the fat left on it so I can cook the fat with it.
For sure. Absolutely.
So, but
So
I was going to try your chip because I realized I probably wasn't getting enough fat. Maybe
mhm.
that's stalling me. And so I was going to just get some suet, and one I was going to reduce it and get some tallow out of it and get the crunchy bits. But two, and I can't remember who I was watching, they said they just get it and they cut it into quarter-inch squares and freeze it, and then when they need fat, they just eat it.
Yeah, sometimes I'll do that too. I'll render tallow and then
Mhm.
put it in those little mini silicone ice cube trays where
Mhm.
they're like little inch cubes. I'll just pop them out, swallow it.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's an easy way to get some fat. That way you don't have to chew it and, get it all on your teeth and feel weird and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just swallow it like a pill.
Oh, that's a good idea. I
Yeah.
love Kerrygold butter. You know, and I know I've got red hair. It's not that I have Irish in me, but Kerrygold butter tastes like English butter, English in Ireland and Danish butter all tends to although the Danish creamery, their butter is so mild, it doesn't quite cut it for me.
Hmm.
Um, honestly, when the Kerrygold's in the fridge and cold, I could literally just cut a slice off that and eat it. But I always have a stick of butter in a butter dish on the counter so that it's spreadable.
Right.
Because in England, you keep your butter on the countertop. You don't keep
Hmm.
it all in the fridge.
Yep. Absolutely. So if somebody's watching this and they have ulcerative colitis,
Mhm.
what what tips do you have for that person, in terms of if
Cut
they're
out.
potentially considering the carnivore diet?
Oh, it is absolutely it's the best way to go. I mean, you can do keto 4, but it's the vegetables and the carbohydrates that are causing the problem. And they're causing gas and they're causing inflammation. And that's the biggest, and the meat is not hurting you whatsoever. I mean, I don't know how many times they told me to only eat red meat once a week. I eat red meat 6 days a week, at least. Occasionally I'll have chicken or I'll have fish. It's Lent right now. And that's I got, the problem with the shrimp. It was because it was a Friday. So the
Mm.
following Friday, I baked cod. This last Friday, I just had some eggs, you know. I decided to keep it simple.
Mhm.
But, the definitely eat meat and, the fat, I think it helps a lot. But all fiber just killed my ulcerative colitis. That's what they tell you to eat, and that's what made me worse. And with everything I've read and everything I've watched, especially with Dr. Beck, very exciting. I don't know why they keep doing it. The only thing it's heartless in a way is, the pharmaceutical companies paying them to make us worse so they can give us more medicine? Because I know people with ulcerative colitis that are on biologics, and mine never got that bad that I had to go to biologic. Because the trouble is, once you get on a biologic, you can't get off it.
Hmm.
And my friend is on Remicade for her already. And she's been on it for about 18 years now, and they've got new biologics have come out, but her rheumatologists have all told her that if we take you off Remicade and the others don't work, you can't go back on Remicade. And these things are thousands of dollars a month to your insurance. My,
Mhm.
the tablets I was taking, they were $1,000 a month until I could get them for free. And, it bankrupts you. And then, also it didn't make the problem completely go away either. And then I was watching Ken Carnivore
Mhm.
because he had to have, his colon taken out and other symptoms that I've had, like I have eczema. Um, and, some of the other things that he described, I've had all those symptoms too. So it couldn't be that they were just part of my ulcerative colitis.
Mhm.
Um, but, I just think that the carnivore was the best way for me. I mean, they can try it. Some people don't find dairy a problem. I love dairy, but dairy doesn't, my sinuses don't like dairy, you know?
Mhm.
And so I think that if you want to leave it, I'm more regular. I don't have any bathroom problems now. I don't have the pain. I don't have the blood. You know, that's all gone. And it's only, I think, completely all gone now because I'm eating carnivore. The
That's awesome.
vegetables, I keep trying to reintroduce them, and then I get arthritis and I get gas, and then it just, no, I don't want to live. and I don't have to think about what I'm going to cook now, really, because I always have ground beef in the house, always, lots of it.
Mhm.
And I've got ground beef patties. I've got pounds of ground beef. I was buying the sliders from Sam's Club, the prime rib sliders. They're really nice, and you can get your fat doing that. But I wasn't eating them all at one time, and things were going to waste. So from now on, when I buy them, I separate them and put them into freezer bags. But I think
Okay.
I'm going to do what Carrie does and pre-cook a load of them. And
There
then
you
when
go.
I'm hungry, if I'm really hungry, I'll eat a little burger patty.
Nice.
But yeah,
So
no, I mean, I'm not taking the medication. I mean, and I don't know if the GERD was part of that ulcerative colitis thing too, but that's completely gone as well. No,
wow.
no GERD whatsoever. I don't have heartburn in any way, shape, or form anymore.
So how long did it take once you started carnivore for the symptoms to go away in your
The
experience?
heartburn was gone in a week.
Wow.
And
Mhm. You see?
well, the gassiness was by a couple of weeks. I realized that I wasn't as gassy at all anymore, hardly at all.
Mhm.
And then I became really, my bathroom habits were, I was more regular too. And I wasn't having to take any stool softeners because I was
Yeah,
eating the fat.
absolutely. For sure.
Now, I don't know if I was eating enough. Some people I watch say just eat till you feel full. Some people say you need to eat this many grams a day. And
Mhm.
some people say 80% fat, and some, some say one on one. And I need to go back through. I was logging everything I was eating. I didn't log today in my old Fitbit tracker, and I think I need to go back to last July and August and double check what I was eating, because that's when I was losing the weight the most. But it could be that that's because my body's still healing. I think I've got the eye problems. You know, I have. I still need to. I do. I'm getting that morning dawn effect with my blood sugar.
Mhm.
For I haven't. I should say I don't know now because I haven't checked for about a month because I don't know. Everybody kept saying Dr. Chafee and Dr. Barry said don't bother taking it in the morning because you're doing your own abs. But,
Right?
and my family doctor does that too. But I really believe that the carnivore diet is the best way to go for people with ulcerative colitis. I mean, my mum had diverticulitis, and her doctor told her to stay away from red meat. No, she passed away from cancer, and that is purely down to sugar and carbs. Because I had her not eating any sugar and carbs, and her cancer went reduced and went dormant. Then she moved closer to my sister and brother, who decided they wanted to spoil her, and they were doing all the cooking. They were buying organic. She wasn't following you know the food regime anymore. In fact, when I flew over and I went to her kitchen, there were bags of potato chips and cookies and candy in the cupboards. And
Wow.
she'd cut all of that out, and the cancer came back. And they finally decided they were going to treat her, but then she had she had the opposite side effect. She was on that immunotherapy, and it's supposed to shrink your tumor, and hers grew from an almond to bigger than a grapefruit in like 5 weeks.
Ouch. Wow.
So, um, but I honestly, cancer feeds off of sugar, and
Absolutely.
carbs turn into sugar,
Mhm.
especially refined carbs. But potatoes and even vegetables, they still turn into sugar,
Mhm.
not as much as if you're eating flour, sugar and cake and candy and all of that stuff. But
Yeah.
it's all inflammatory, and ulcerative colitis is an inflammation in your colon.
Mhm.
So if you take away the foods that cause inflammation, then you're not gonna, you're gonna find relief. It might
Ab
take people longer. Say I've always kind of kept I've always believed in controlling illnesses by food anyway,
Mhm.
and my hypoglycemia, I knew not what to eat. And I knew when not to eat it. And if I broke that, I knew I was going to suffer from it. And I was at the high school when there was a drill meet on for my son's ROTC, and one of the girls passed out. They called paramedics and they tested her blood sugar. The blood sugar was really low. And I went, "Oh, I got some glucose in my handbag." "Why do you have glucose?" They said. I went, "Well, because I'm hypoglycemic." And they went, "Well, what medication you on?" I went, "None." "What do you mean you're not on any medication? You should be on medication." I went, "No, I control it with my diet. I only keep these in my bag for emergencies." And so I had 2 things of the liquid glucose that parents gave permission for her to have it. But why should we be paying the pharmaceutical companies all this money when we can not have any problems with anything if we eat what our body says to eat?
Absolutely, for sure. So you had mentioned earlier that you're not paying $1,000 a month for this medication. So how much money have you saved eating a
Oh,
carnivore
but
diet
thousands.
versus
Now
what you were doing before?
it would be thousands, but, right now, because I'm not taking my cholesterol medicine, there's 3 different prescriptions I'm not taking anymore. I only have 3 remaining. One's my asthma medicine, and I got adult onset asthma when I was 20, and so I always have it apparently. But I do find it depends on how my allergies are behaving. I've taken over the counter medicine, allergy medicine now. I'm
Mhm.
weaning myself off the sleeping medicine. And the only thing is I'm still on some antidepressants because I changed jobs and and I got really depressed and but now I'm thinking that I think that I might have a thyroid problem because uh, my my body temperature is 96.8. I don't care what's going on in my life. It's 96.8,
Wow.
which is not normal.
Right.
And when I get sick, my temperature drops. If I get a fever, it might go up to 99.
Wow. I
Um,
know histamines control body temperature, I think, that's a big factor in body temperature. So you might want to take a look into that for sure. Especially if you having issues with egg whites or aged cheeses,
and I
and stuff
love
like
aged
that.
cheeses, but I just haven't been eating them at all. I mean, because my favorite cheeses are mature farmhouse cheddar, Stilton and Brie and things like that. And Wensleydale's my ultimate favorite. I just I just don't eat them very often at all now. I mean, I've actually got some cheddar in my fridge right now, and I had a little sliver of it the other day, but I just because I fancied it. And then the next day, I had stomach problems. Like, okay, no more cheddar. So I'm being pretty good with that. But like my nails are brittle and my hair is really thin, you know,
Mhm.
and so um, my LDLs are high compared to and no matter how much cholesterol medicine, statins they put me on, my LDLs didn't come down. The way that I got the improvement was cutting out carbs and my triglycerides dropped. My HDL has always been pretty good, but it went up a bit more. My VLDL dropped, but those LDL, they just stick between 95 and 119. They just stay away in that area there. And so I'm going to do that thyroid test I've got through Anya Labs and see if my reverse T3 is out. I've been
Mhm.
taking some iodine drops, but I've got lines in my fingernails as well, and I've never had that before.
Right.
I mean, they're getting away. They're not as bad as they were. The ridges were really bad, but since I've been in carnivore, they've been getting smoother.
So that is, could be a nutrient deficiency too, right?
Mhm.
And as you have autoimmune conditions, you absorb less and less nutrients. So I
That's
had the
why I
same
take
thing with,
T3. That's why I
the
take
nails.
T3 Yeah. I I
Yeah.
I I was taking vitamin C as well, but I ran out and I hadn't replaced it. They were like horse pills anyway. But
Right.
um, and since Doctor and my see the thing is, I never used to take any supplements whatsoever because my doctor in England said you don't need them if you're eating properly. But then of course I got ulcerative colitis, which messed things around.
Hmm.
But then the doctors here had me eating the wrong things so that I really wasn't absorbing any minerals properly at all. And as I say, my vitamin D went down to 6, and my family doctor was like really concerned about that one. He had me taking 10,000 IU. In fact, I take 10,000 IU now because it's
Hmm.
winter. And in the summer, I dropped to 5,000 IU of vitamin D.
Right.
But yeah, if you have autoimmune, and the thing is too, is my grandmother had rheumatoid arthritis and my cousin has rheumatoid arthritis. So I know I most likely have that gene in me as well somewhere. So that's why I'm not going to eat anything that's going to make my arthritis bad.
Right. For sure. Absolutely. So I've been taking optimal aminos because of this autoimmune condition that, blocks nutrient absorption. I do believe that I've been malnourished, severely nutrient deficient my entire life because I have thin hair. I've had nail issues and stuff like that,
Yeah,
skin
I have
issues.
really thin fine hair. It's just not fair. My
Yeah.
sister has it
So
like for 5 people.
the aminos, so basically, because I've ate garbage my entire life, my cells are essentially not optimal and they're made of garbage, basically,
Mhm.
because you are what you eat. So I've heard that it takes 7 years to replace all the cells in your body. So somebody with an autoimmune condition, I think that it's most likely going to take a little bit longer to do that. So that's the purpose of the supplementation is to saturate your body with these nutrients, these vitamins and minerals, so that your body has that stuff readily available when it needs to make that conversion and make good cells. So then
And
optimal
that
aminos
makes
has
sense.
definitely been helping me.
That makes sense because they say that, I mean, that as far as allergic reactions to things, they say that your allergies change because your body changes every 7 years.
Hmm.
So things that you were like, my brother's not allergic to egg whites anymore. So
Right.
it changes. But and I think that you're right as far as with somebody with autoimmune, it takes longer. Because we've had that compromised system all that time.
Hmm.
Um, so and I'm not saying I've been a sickly child. I was one of the unlucky child. I mean, I've had tonsillitis 27 times in 18 months when I was a child. And they took my tonsils out when I was 3. And then when I was 9, I got animal typhoid when we lived in New Mexico and nearly
Wow.
died. So it's like, and we got measles and chickenpox and all of that good stuff, right?
Right.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
and
You gotta have that at least once in your life.
yeah, and and my son Matthew actually had chickenpox when he was 10 months old. So I had to go through that with him. But
Mm.
because I'm allergic to, I'm always getting sinus infections. That's the other thing too. Since I'm in carnivore, I haven't had a sinus infection bad enough where I've had to go to the doctor and to have him give me extra strength Sudafed and antibiotics. I've
Mhm.
just used my Navage system to rinse out my head. And I don't even do that every day. I should do that every day for protoclensive because it's saline.
Mhm.
But I was also getting to bed with a nose strip on my nose, fix on my face. And I do still put eucalyptus on my pillowcase at night. But I haven't had to, I was having 7 to 8 sinus infections a year.
Wow.
And Dr. Berry said that they're usually viral. So the doctor giving you antibiotics. And the thing is, the amount of antibiotics I've taken over the years must have really killed my metabolism and my natural biome and my.
Mhm.
So, and the same with steroids. When I went to the doctor this time for the shingles, he actually said, because I said, "What could relieve it?" He said, "Well, I can give you steroids, but I'm not going to because I know that you don't want your sugar to raise."
Right.
So he said, "I'm going to give you this shot and I'm going to give you some stronger antihistamines." And actually within 3 days I was fine. I mean, I saw the rash, but I could just put, you know, my
Hmm.
eczema cream on that, or moisturizer. I've got some moisturizer, vitamin E. I just put on it to stop it, replenish my skin now.
Right.
But yeah, I'm
That's
a little
awesome.
bit off a bit ulcerative colitis, but I think that's all connected. But I just think that it's a again with the Hashimoto's, depression's one of them as well. So if that's the problem, then I will take what I need to for that and hopefully come off the antidepressants. Because I
Right.
might be completely drug free. I don't know if I'll ever be drug free for my asthma inhaler, but I know I don't use it as much. And I have spoken to some people who've said that their asthma's got better since they've been carnivore. Oh, by the way, I bumped into a friend of, not bumped into, I see him, a friend of yours, every Wednesday morning.
Really.
Yeah. He works for US Bank. Michael,
Oh yeah, Mike.
he said, hi.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
He's the
Yeah.
one that told me to take the ancestral organs rather than the liver.
Right. Yeah. They're doing carnivore diet mostly, I think. He and his lady. Yeah. I need to touch base with him. I haven't touched base with him in a while. So he's another one of my Facebook friends that, I make posts on Facebook and, nobody comments, nobody likes
He said he
unless
graduated
it's
high
like,
school with you.
yeah, yeah. And,
Well, yeah, you come. You can come to Coffee with Champions on a Wednesday morning. I know you're not part of Van Daly Butler Chamber, but I'll invite you, and you'll see him
mm,
there. It's
nice.
like a mentoring program for self-employed and business owners and people like me, salespeople.
Interesting. Yeah. That'd be cool for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, he messaged me one day and said, "We're starting the carnivore diet," and I'm like, "Wow, that's cool." And I've had a few other friends also on Facebook say that too, and it's really strange because I guess people are lurkers. They don't comment, they don't like, but they see what you're posting. Apparently,
Well, my choir director said, "Susan, you need to get some clothes that fit you. They're too big." Sure. And then so everybody was saying, "Well, what are you doing?" And I went, "Oh yeah, no, I'm doing this carnivore diet." And one of my fellow singers, he kind of looked at me, and at the Christmas party, I took stuff that I could eat as well, right? And I
Mhm.
also took the stuff that they would eat, and other people would like my sort of shortbread and everything. But Joel started talking to me. And so Joel in my choir is carnivore,
Okay,
and he couldn't make the meetup because he was doing a fast for Lent. So
gotcha.
he said he'll try next time there's another one, he'll try. I can't, apparently the one in Columbus is like closed. There's too many people going already. So I
Right,
wouldn't go into that one. So,
awesome.
but
So, where can everybody find you on the internet?
okay. So, well, my channel is UK USA Lady Meat Heels on YouTube. I actually have, I'm on LinkedIn, and so I don't mind. I'll connect anybody. I was a recruiter for 23 years, so I have a lot of contacts. And then I have two Facebook pages. And the reason I have two Facebook pages is because at one point I had warring fractions of my family that were talking to each other. So I had to have two different Facebook pages but now they're all kind of talking to now it's a bit of a nuisance having two. Of course, Facebook won't let you merge them. You can't merge them.
Right.
So I have to keep going and checking both pages. So I'm under Susan Marie Ellenbach, and then I'm under Susan Ebach.
Okay.
So
I'll make
um
sure that I link those in the description below for everybody for sure.
yeah, but I say I've only got one video on my channel. I do have to do more. And I think I've only got 15 followers.
Well, we'll hopefully get you a few more, and, I know
Yeah, so
you're
writing
gonna have
interviews,
videos
I,
coming.
I, I want to do maybe a video of doing the face creams and things, maybe,
Yeah, that would be really
or
cool.
just maybe do some other talking and maybe just do some chats with other people. So I'm going to do one with Nicole. We're going to be commenting on this one. And Carrie said she'd have, had me on, and maybe I need to join just some of the online invitations. I know you're not going to be doing the meetup with Russ very often anymore.
Right.
So
Yep. So, yeah, we're doing, well, at least for now, with, Jeff DeProsperous,
yeah, I
at
watched
8
it last
8 o'clock.
night.
Yeah, so we're doing that at least for now, so I don't know how long he wants to do that, but he said, "Hey, Carrie, Adam, JT, can you guys, hop on a live stream with me on Tuesday night?" So, you know, I'm not gonna turn down Jeff, so
No, no, and I know. I think Kerry thought I was being a nuisance when I was going on about the nano knife, but I did when my mum was first diagnosed. I had lost my dad, just lost my dad from Agent Orange, so I was trying to think of everything I could possibly think of that for her, and I found the nano knife, and I found a private hospital in England that did where she could pay to have it done, and it was really cheap, and they wouldn't do it on the National Health Service. But he couldn't do it because she had a heart issue, and her tumor was too close to the heart. So, but
mm,
there was an HR manager who was diagnosed with cancer, and she was pregnant, so they decided to wait till she had the baby. And when they opened her up, she had, instead of having one tumor, she had multiple, and the National Health Service just sewed her back up. She found the doctor that I had found, but and I that's where I found her story, and he treated her with a nano knife and then some oral um, uh, cancer medication. But
mm,
basically, you put probes at either side. Not you don't. They don't even have to be touching the tumor, but electrical probe. They put probes either side of the tumor, and then they zap high electricity that doesn't cause heat, but they zap the current through it, and it breaks the outer shell of the tumor, and then your body can naturally attack it.
interesting.
And so that's why, and it's really good for colon cancer and soft tissue cancers. It's excellent, like 96% success rate for prostate cancer, and where you don't have to have surgery then.
Mhm.
And then the other one was one of my shippers was the um, chair of the James, and they have the proton light knife now, which is a light, and it just kills the cancer, not the healthy tissue around the cancer. So
Interesting.
I was like, and they kept saying, "Oh, it's some sort of treatment like heat or something." I went, "No, no, it's not. They're zapping it with electricity, you know." So
Right? Wow, yeah. I remember you mentioning that, and, I had no idea what you were referring to because I hadn't heard of it, but yeah, that's very interesting.
yeah, I mean, I love. Uh, I had one of those profile test ones, and I'm one of those. I'm a weird combination. I'm really outgoing, but I'm really analytical, like data. Okay, so
Right.
I love to do research, and I love numbers. Don't tell me about statistics because you can manipulate anything you bloody well want to say. That's why I really got onto the statins, and what they did with the studies really peed me off
Mhm.
because they were totally, you know, pushing something that people should be taking because the side effects are way worse than the benefits.
Absolutely. Susan, I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate you being here. It was an honor to have you here, your
Well,
first
thank you for
interview.
inviting me. I mean, I didn't know if I was actually good enough or had enough interesting things to say for you guys. I'm just doing the best I can. I am
Perfect.
telling a lot of people about Dr. Berry and everybody else to go watch them, and I send out your channels to everyone.
That's awesome. Well,
So
definitely
thanks for
appreciate
having me
you for
on.
that. Absolutely, and, well, good luck at choir tonight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I won't be going to Mass on Sunday because I got to take a test, but Um, yeah, at least I'm not singing. I sang solo last Sunday, so that was a bit nerve wracking.
Right. Awesome. Well, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again soon,
Yeah,
Susan.
take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.